Beppo-Sachs was an Italian satellite carrying Dutch instruments designed to study X-rays. But the satellite also carried instruments that could double as crude gamma-ray detectors.
Beppo-Sachs gave his position within a few hours after the event, and that was really critical because typically the afterglow fades away very quickly in optical, and so after a few days it was not detectable. You really need to be there within the few hours.
Braille.
Now, there's always competition in a project such as this when one is aiming for a certain thing, and it's a good competition, it's healthy competition.
If you know that other people are looking for the same thing at the same time, that drives you a bit harder, and you try to get it.
Yeah, a healthy drive then, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
January 1997, I flew to Italy. I showed them our capabilities that we had, the instruments that we had that we'd lined up for the heady era, and struck a collaboration.
Soon after, Beppo-Sachs recorded a burst, and Frail's telescopes captured what appeared to be an afterglow.
Dale Frail.
We found something very interesting, something we hadn't seen before. We thought we may have found an afterglow. It sort of fit the bill.
The Beppo-Sachs satellite had traced the source of the burst to a patch of sky in the constellation of the Snake. When Frail studied the area, he discovered a faintly glowing source which he thought was the afterglow. Working flat out, Frail prepared to reveal his findings in the prestigious scientific journal Nature. At the last minute, he got bad news.
And it was accepted, waiting to go to press, and the Dutch team announced a new position for the object.
When the Beppo-Sachs team calculated more precise coordinates, the area was much smaller than the original. And Frail's glowing source was outside the new, more accurate location.
You write this Nature paper.
Groot and Galama.
At the very last moment, you have to retract. That must be, I mean, yeah, you must be really down, really depressed. I can really imagine that, yeah.
We'd expended all this energy trying to study this object. And there it was, off outside of the field of view of the gamma-ray burster, doing its own little dance and mocking us, if you like, for our foolishness.
When Beppo-Sachs caught its next burst, the timing couldn't have been worse for Dale Frail. The Dutch were also after it. But back in Holland, things weren't much better. The Italians were refusing to hand over the coordinates they needed.
And then at some point it turned out that he couldn't give me, this was a political decision made higher up, had to do with the Italian collaborators, and that he couldn't give me the position.
Titus Galama.
With the afterglow fading, there was a string of frantic phone calls.
I felt very strongly that the best way to solve this problem was to indeed make the information public to everyone. And I told the Italians this.
But the Italians gave the coordinates to the Dutch on strict conditions. They had permission to look for the afterglow at radio wavelengths only, not in the crucial optical wavelengths.
We were in a dilemma at that point. Because we had that position, I realized that it was still visible, but it would set, the source would be set below the horizon quite soon. So then the question was, what are we going to do? Are we going to wait till we get a call saying yes or no? Or are we going to go ahead and go for it? And at that time we thought, well, this is science. We never get this chance again. So that's when we decided to call the telescopes on La Palma and tell them, go.
You just try whatever you can. That's what we did.
Right.
That I remember very well. At the point we were looking at that screen and we saw that there was this star, this little thing there. And really I realized immediately, this must be it. I felt that my intuition told me this must be it. And then I really felt like, this has been 30 years, and there it is.
There it is.
This is the kind of energy you need if you took the mass of our sun,
Dale Frail,
and turned it into energy in 10 seconds. Pure energy, E equals mc squared.
The entire sun being turned instantly into gamma rays. How on earth could one possibly do that?
Dale Frail.
It's something that, well, we still have a hard time getting our brains around, but we've come to accept now that it's our brains that are the problem and not the energies involved.